graduating class salutatorians. This year, the Taravella salutatorian, Brian Boggiano, is a dynamic individual. Intelligence-wise, how about a 5.4706 weighted GPA? Brian is an AP Scholar with distinction. This designation requires a candidate to pass 5 AP exams. Brian has taken 12 AP exams and passed all up to date, including AP Art History. Noted as quite difficult. I mentioned that exam because that was my class and Brian was my student. I was proud to award him the Most Outstanding Student Award for his rigorous and enthusiastic achievement in that subject. To say that Brian is hardworking and focused in his studies is an understatement. Brian is well-rounded. He served the class of 2014 as an officer, a senator. He was co-captain of the J.P.Taravella cross-country team, was awarded MVP for cross-country, received the Coaches Award, and was designated the Broward County Athletic Association's Scholar Athlete for Taravella. And that's not all. For 3 years, Brian has been a featured writer and business manager for our school's newspaper, The Chariot. Additionally, he has been a 3-time school literary fair winner. Brian is a giving young man, volunteering over 252 hours of community service. He helped at the Discovery Preschool. He served at his church and the JPT Parent-Teacher Student Organization. I state again, an amazing young man. His very fine parents and his sister are his role models, his mentors, and his support system. At this time, may I introduce his oh-so-proud family, Mom and Dad, Mary Ellen and Michael Boggiano, and his sister, Samantha Boggiano. Samantha just graduated cum laude from University of Florida. Mom and Dad, your 2 children both graduating at the top of their class in the same month? Wow. Science, specifically meteorology and climatology, his passion. Now, what I have not told you is that at age 3, Brian was diagnosed with autism. He has never let that deter him from accomplishing anything that he set out to. I know that he has had to work harder than most in order to overcome and succeed. He has continuously worked his way through many challenges. Brian has never given up. What incredible drive that is. His parents stated in the yearbook that Brian has great determination and inner strength. His best friend since they were 2, Dan Jordan, also graduating tonight, said that Brian is very loyal to his belief system and to his friends. When he and Brian were little, they would watch the movie Hocus Pocus over and over again, as kids so often do. This movie is about somebody who hears something that nobody else hears. It's somewhat about believing in magic. Well, Brian Boggiano, tonight we will all hear you. You have been the magician. You have made the magic happen. Brian would not let something that could have been a disability ever disable him. Brian's coach, Gary Boyer, when asked about Brian, said, "This young man is not walking towards, but is running to a future filled with success." At this time, it is my pleasure and once again my honor to introduce you to a young man who has inspired me and is truly one of my heroes. J.P.Taravella High School's 2014 Salutatorian, Mr. Brian Bogiano.
Thank you, Ms. McCallum. I would like to thank everyone at J.P.Taravella, including Ms. Gaver, the awesomest guidance counselor in the world, Ms. Barreras, and Mr. Sarah for making this achievement possible. None of this would have been possible without you. Seeing me on stage, one would assume that I was always an overachiever. However, this was not always true. As Ms. McCallum stated, when I was 3 years old, I was diagnosed with autism, a social and developmental disability resulting in poor, critical, verbal, nonverbal, and social skills. I was diagnosed when extensive research on autism was just beginning. After my diagnosis, I went to children's therapy in Coral Springs so I could receive the attention that I needed. From age 2 to 6, I was at children's therapy 6 days a week with my mom and sister. So my only play dates during this time were children's therapy appointments. During all of this, my dad was working very hard to support my family financially, and I cannot thank my family enough for their sacrifices. I went to the Dan Marino Center in Weston weekly, and thanks to the contributions that Dan Marino made to the autism research in South Florida, I improved. While it was unknown whether therapy would fully help, I was enrolled in Maplewood Elementary's PLACE program, a preschool learning environment that catered to children with developmental disabilities such as myself. 2 years later, I started kindergarten on an individualized education plan, or an IEP, which is a form assigned to kids with disabilities. And when I started first grade, I no longer needed it. Despite the growing research surrounding autism, social acceptance towards autism is still unsatisfactory. According to CNN, over 46% of autistic kids have been bullied. After 5th grade, I was bullied because I was perceived as different. I am different, not only because I have autism, but also because I'm stronger than most people. This bullying made me realize that people of all, and I repeat, all backgrounds should be accepted and given love. This bullying also helped me become a stronger person. In my opinion, we all have something in common. We are all different, so we should all accept each other. In my opinion, it is easier to be open to diversity than to promote prejudice and intolerance. Throughout high school, I defied the odds even further by becoming co-captain and #1 runner on cross country. I worked very hard, often running up to 70 miles a week. This all paid off because I completed a half marathon in less than 1 hour, 40 minutes, which is about 7 minutes, 30 seconds per mile, and those of you in Hope know how hard that is. And I got an honorable mention for the all-county cross-country team. Besides the glory, running is also a major stress reliever for me. My favorite teacher throughout all of high school was Miss McCallum. Miss McCallum is extremely passionate about her students, and was the most devoted of all my teachers to making sure her students understood all the concepts. She was also a big supporter of autism activism, something I appreciate deeply. Thank you for always being there for me. Even though I was very stressed with my workload, there were so many people that supported me and continue to support me. I want to thank my #1 fan, my mom. Mom, you're the strongest woman I have ever met, and I love you. You're my greatest inspiration, and you have had my back through it all. None of what I have achieved would have been possible without you. Dad, I know you're always working very hard, but you have done a great job supporting the family. And to my sister Sammy, I may argue with and annoy you as any little brother would do, but at the end of the day, you are not only my sister, but also my best friend. Thank you to all. Thank you to all my friends who stuck by me in the darkest of times as well. My friends and family had my back during another rough time. Besides being perceived as different because I have autism, I am different because I identify on the LGBT continuum as bisexual. I came out a year ago mainly because it was stressful for me to keep this secret in, and because I have been perceived as such for years. I was very lucky that when I came out, my family ended up being a big support network for me, joined 5 months later by everybody at my school, including all my friends. My mom and dad took me to support groups every week, and my sister got me in touch with friends of hers that were going through something similar. I cannot thank them enough for being accepting of this aspect of my life. As we become adults, it is our job to establish a world which is open to diversity and where nobody is afraid to be themselves. It is important that, just like my parents, you would sacrifice so much for the welfare of your child. There are parents that are struggling with children like me who are more affected by autism. My aunt and uncle have a child like this. This is the same for people struggling with their orientations. I know it is very hard to struggle internally with this, but you must remain strong. You are loved. People care about you. People are accepting. People are open-minded. Attitudes towards the LGBT community have been changing over the past 15 years, and you must rise with these optimistic attitudes. If you can accept yourself, then most of your journey is already complete. We live in a world run by individuals seeking to better themselves, because if you are living a lie, you are not actually living. Life is too short, and living a lie is wasting precious time. We also live in a world with varying opinions, so we must accept open-mindedness, but tolerate ignorance. After I graduate from UF, go Gators. I think got some Gators up there. Nothing against FSU. Okay, I want to pursue my dream job as a meteorologist. If I get married, I want to have kids so I can become an activist for them, much like my family was for me. I want to thank my family again for all their hard work, because without 18 years of support, I may have not been as motivated to work as hard as everybody else graduating today. Once again, thank you for everything, including your love and hope, which never faded. Congratulations to everybody in the class of 2014, and I want to end off by saying this. Even though the world could be a hard place, we all deserve 5 things. And those 5 things are friendship, recognition, respect, love, and lastly, acceptance.